again, and you're watching the program State of the Nation, brought to you by Maker News. My name is Melanie Joel, and joining me today for the newspaper review sessions is the station manager KUFM, Mr. Salihu Ibrahim. Mr. Salihu will be dissecting the various headlines we are going to be reviewing this morning. Good morning, sir. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you indeed. Quickly, we move on to the newspaper review sessions for today, and we begin with the Punch newspaper with its lead story that talks about endless borrowing. Debt servicing gulps 13.17 trillion naira under Buhari, education suffers. It comes with a rider that says federal government budgets 4 trillion naira for education in 7 years. Sector loses 837 days to strike. Salary arrears stalling negotiations, says federal government. No pay, no resumption, says ASU. Education underfunded. FG may borrow to fund sector. Economics 1. Just above the nameplate, we have stories that says FG to end petrol subsidy in June 2023. Why Muslim to Muslim tickets problematic for Nigeria, says PFN. Take battle to terrorist hideouts. Buhari orders military. Just below the nameplate, we have, just beside the side nameplate, we have story that says Sean Rivers votes loose poll, Wike wants PDP. Below the paper, we have stories that says association films as Lagos extends ban on Okada. Police uncover shrine with 20 cops. Suspects kick. Lawless soldiers brutalize cops for seizing colleagues' motorcycle. These are stories that made it to the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Mr. Ibrahim, what do you think about the Muslim to Muslim ticket? Why is it problematic,
Because of the way Nigeria is, we are roughly equally split between Muslims and Christians. Personally, I'm not comfortable discussing this thing about religion, because I think religion is supposed to be a personal thing, but we have got to be realistic and understand that in Nigeria, anything you do, people will look at it from behind a religious prism. So if you have a political party, in this case the APC, opting for a Muslim presidential candidate and a Muslim vice presidential candidate, is definitely going to create some issues. But personally, I would want to look at the individuals. Does Bola Ahmed Tinubu have a history of antagonizing Christians? If the answer is yes, then there is a problem with his candidature. Does the vice presidential candidate, Kasim Shettima, does he have a history of animosity towards Christians? If the answer is yes, then it will be a problem. But if these two gentlemen do not have such baggage, then I personally would not want to bother about whether they are both Muslims or both Christians. I think we should really be looking at the competence of these people. I understand why one party will feel, oh, why is it that you are not taking anybody from our religious persuasion? But the truth is, we have more Muslims in the north and we have more Christians in the south. So if you are able to get a Christian presidential candidate from any party from the south, a Muslim presidential candidate from the south, the likelihood is that the person will most likely go for a Muslim vice presidential candidate.
Sure.
It's like when you have a Christian, if we ever have a situation where a Christian candidate will emerge from the north, if he's coming to the south, he will most likely pick a Christian from the south, because most of the top politicians in the south are Christians. So personally, I don't really like this Muslim, Christian. We should be looking at the individuals themselves. Nigeria did it in 1993 and it worked. Abiola was a Muslim, and Babagana Kengibe was also a Muslim. And Nigerians did not bother. They won even in Kano, which was the state of the opposition candidate, that Bashir Tofa. So honestly, personally, I don't see this, but I understand where all these issues are coming from because the way the country is structured, whatever you do, they look at your religion and then they look at your ethnicity. But otherwise, it shouldn't be. It should just be that we should be bothered about what this person is coming to do. But
Okay.
again,
Okay.
if we are going to talk much about that, I think people should just, if you don't want that particular ticket, then there are other
Okay,
options.
talking about the individuals, now you made mention about what they can offer. So do you think these individuals are capable of saving the nation come 2023?
Uh, that's a tricky one. Honestly, it will be because I don't want to be partisan to look at
Okay.
any, but if we are going by the antecedent, if that's what we will go by, I personally do not think that there is any politician that is the savior, that is the messiah that will just come and
Surely.
solve Nigeria's problem. But if you want to go by the pedigree, by the antecedents of these people, then you look at what Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done in Lagos State. Going by that, you will say, okay, but will he be able to replicate it at national level? You look at what Kasim Shettima has achieved in Borno State when he was governor. The records are still there, but will he be able to replicate that at national level? So going by their antecedents, you will say yes, they are okay. I'm okay with that. But I'm not one of those who will blindly follow a politician and think that any one of them is a messiah who will come and solve our problems. They said so much
Surely.
about Buhari, but look at where we are today. Many people have felt disappointed
And
because
considering the fact that the flag bearer of the APC is the one that sold these candidates to us.
yeah, I don't know about selling, but their political interests aligned because Buhari contested the election 3 times and did not win. But when they teamed up, when they decided to form the APC, Tinubu was in ACN then, and then Buhari was in CPC. But when they decided to put their resources together, that was when they were able to win. But even if that of the selling of the ticket, I'm sure when Bola Ahmed Tinubu teamed up with Buhari, he was looking at the future and he felt, okay, after this man does his 2 times, and as luck will have it, he won those 2 times. Maybe he felt, okay, it will then be power will be shifting to the south, and if power is shifting to the south, because I am such an integral part of this movement that brought him, power is likely going to come to me, and that I believe that's where that Emilio Con phrase
Yeah.
came up.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful analysis. We move on to the next newspaper for today, which is the Guardian newspaper. The lead story here talks about experts task Buhari government on how to rescue ailing economy. Inflation rates ballooned by 170% under Buhari in 7 years. Why governments must embark on urgent sweeping reforms. Presidents, governments must agree on PMS subsidy removal timelines. Focus on agri sector insecurity to stem food inflation, federal government told. We also have stories on ASU. We won't pay you for strike period, federal government tells ASU. Same faith ticket, still on Muslim to Muslim tickets. This one says, same faith ticket may jeopardize peace coexistence, United Nations says. PFN. 5G to generate $7 trillion by 2030 as Mopita sees tech-driven Nigeria. And okay, this story says will resolve article Wike field BOT chairs as yours. These and many more stories are found on the front page of the Guardian newspapers this morning. Quickly, we look at this talking about the economy and the inflation and all. Expert task Buhari government on how to rescue ailing economy. So, why do you think government should embark on this urgent, like sweeping? One of the writers says why governments must embark on urgent sweeping. So, do you think this is a nice one? What can you make out of this statement?
Yeah, you see, the problem with Nigeria is not that we do not have the brains, the experts who will provide solutions to whatever problems we are having. The problem is the implementation. We have fantastic economics in Nigeria who have told the government, okay, this is how you go about it. So I am baffled why up till now we seem to be having these problems with our economy because we've got everything. But I think the major problem is that we have turned ourselves into more of a consuming nation than a producing nation. And because we import so many things, everybody's crying about the high exchange rate, the dollar to the naira. But when you import almost everything, including toothpicks, and you're not producing anything in your country, I mean, it's definitely going to be a serious problem. Even the health, we import it. Those who can afford it prefer to travel abroad for treatment. When you flip it and you just fix the health facilities in your country, there will be no need for you to be traveling abroad and demanding for foreign exchange. The education sector is in a mess. ASO has been on strike for months now. And so we have to, those who can afford it are sending their kids abroad for to acquire quality education. And you don't do that paying in naira. You pay in dollars and you pay in pounds and pay in other currencies. So it's taking a huge toll on the economy. So I think that the federal government should listen to the experts and do what they've been telling them. I think basically all the economic experts that I've listened to have said we have got to be a producing nation. We depend so much on importation, and that's why we are having these issues. The current government has been talking about farming, which is good. Agriculture, it is the way to go, honestly. Look at what's happening in Ukraine now, the war between Russia and Ukraine. It's creating problems even here in Africa. African countries are waiting for shipments from Ukraine, that is a tiny country, to so that they can feed their populace, because the cost of wheat is going up. So if we are able to do that, we focus more on agriculture. But how do you do that without tackling the insecurity problems? You want people to go to the farms, but when they go to the farms, they are kidnapped, they are killed, and all of that. So we've got to do that. Thank God now, I don't know whether because the Senate threatened to impeach the president, they are beginning to sit up. We can see the military now recording massive victories against these insurgents. So we hope that they will tackle the security. And if they are able to tackle insecurity, then I believe that the economy will also pick up.
So what do you think about the fuel subsidy?
Yeah, the fuel subsidy, that is one major disappointment I personally have with General President Muhammadu Buhari. When he was contesting to be the president, he questioned the subsidy. He said it was a fraud, that it was a scam, that they should come and explain to him what they are really doing about this subsidy. So I thought that when he came, we would not have any issue at all with the subsidy. But the Minister of the Finance just told us that they are spending over 18 billion naira a day on subsidy. And when you multiply that by a month and then by a year, you see the humongous amounts of money that Nigeria is spending on this subsidy. And personally, I think if you fix the refineries, we've got 4 refineries in Nigeria, but as at the moment, none of them is working at full capacity. So if you are able to properly fix your refineries, everybody now is talking about, even the federal government, are talking about the Dangote refinery. I mean, it's an embarrassment that we have to wait for Dangote refinery to come on stream before we will completely stop importation of fuel. If we do not import fuel, then we will be in serious trouble because our refineries are not even working. Almost 100% we need to import. So we need to fix our refineries and then put a total stop to this importation. Believe me, I think that Nigerians will even pay for, even if you say fuel is 400 naira per liter. I pray it doesn't get to that, but let's say they totally take off subsidy and they know that Nigeria is not spending on subsidy. So that 18 billion naira that we are spending on subsidy daily, if our refineries are working, but you tell Nigerians that, okay, you've got to be buying petrol for 400 naira per liter, they will gladly do that because they know that the money that you are saving on subsidy, you will use it to develop infrastructure. If our roads are good, you could travel from here to Abuja in 4 hours because the roads are good. Then Nigerians will not complain. Yes, and everywhere there is security. Because if your economy is good, then you will be able to arm the military more to enable them to take care of all these insecurity challenges that we are having.
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful analysis. And we move on to the last newspaper before us today, which is the Nigerian Tribune. It comes talking about ASU. The lead story says, ASU members won't be paid for strike period, says the federal government. Says 5 unions call off strike by next week. UTAS, U3PS, outscored IPPIS integrity tests. Suggests students can sue ASU. Federal government suggests students can sue ASU for compensation. ASU rejects federal government's new salary offer, says it's miserly. Okay, the um another story here says reps faults 18 billion. Sorry, rep faults 18.37 billion naira daily subsidy payment. Wike gives fresh conditions to get votes from Rivers. Ogun records 4 cases of monkeypox. Sorry, I take that again. Ogun record 4 new cases of monkeypox. Northern governors destroying primary nomadic education. Federal government alleges. What transpired during Obasanjo's Tinubu's meeting? Bajabiamila. Okay, these and many more stories are the stories that made it to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Talking about ASU this morning, ASU has been trending for the past, did I say this week? Talking about from the meetings, the dead meetings that ended in deadlock and all. And now federal government has come out to say they won't be paid for the strike period. Now, Mr. Ibrahim, this is the point where I have to say the battle is lost. Like ASU has lost it, because how can you be on strike for 6 months? You're not being paid. What you are going on strike for, you're not being answered, and now the government is even telling you that you're not going to be paid for these 6 months. And this statement actually comes to mind. Professors are the ones that taught politicians, but now it seems politicians are the ones that are teaching professors. It's really laughable. I mean, what is your
Well,
take on this?
there are actually professors amongst the politicians
Okay.
too. So it's sad, honestly. This whole ASU and federal government fight. It's sad,
They are
and
further
it's really sad.
students.
It's really sad because it isn't the first time it's happening. Even
Sure.
before I was born, ASU has been going on a strike. During my time in school, ASU has been on strike. So
Okay.
it has been a recurring thing, ASU and the federal government. I think the fight has, and look, we cannot completely exonerate either the federal government or ASU in this. Both of them are to blame. And when you look at some of the issues that they are talking about the current one, the federal government has a policy. It is no work, no pay. ASU knew about this before they embarked on strike.
Okay.
So they knew clearly that the federal government was not going to pay them. And I think many people will sympathize with the federal government in this particular case. I'm not talking about whether the justification of ASU going on strike or not.
Okay.
Talking about the no work, no pay. I mean, if you are a parent or if you are a student, I mean, will you want ASU to get paid for the 6 months that they were on strike? No, nobody will want to do that. And even employers will not want to pay their workers when did not work. You are working, you did not produce anything, and you said, okay, after the strike, you are going to get paid for the period that you were at home.
Okay.
Nobody will want to
And
do that.
this battle has actually shifted from the UTA's deliberation now to you must pay us.
Yes, yes. As I said, ASU knew before they embarked
So
on
are they
strike that
fighting
they were not
another
going to
lost
give them.
cause? Trying to
I do not want to I don't want to refer to it as a lost cause, because what they were fighting for, the revitalization of the university education system, their pay and everything. Let's be brutally honest here. The lecturers deserve more. Our lecturers deserve much better. We know how good our lecturers are. They are not sent. I'm not trying to portray them as such, but we know that when Nigerian lecturers go abroad, they excel. Just like when Nigerian professionals go abroad, we see how well that they perform. So the federal government should do more, and it's unfortunate because most of these top politicians, their children don't even school in Nigeria. So they don't really care, because if your kids were at home for 6 months, you would want to ensure that you do something to resolve the whole crisis. As I said, I'm not exonerated, as I think there are also some instances where they have erred in terms of their negotiations with the federal government. I would have preferred that they kept on, talking about these things while they're still in school, because this fight now between the federal government and ASU is affecting the students. There are poor parents who do not, they struggle to make the money to send their children to school. Now you've extended their stay in the universities by who knows. We don't even know when they are going to eventually call off the strike. So it is really not nice. So I would have preferred that they were working and then continue the negotiation, put the issues on the front burner, come to the media. We'll help them to keep talking about it so that everybody knows, okay, ASU is being owed this, and these are the things that we need. We put pressure on the government to resolve all of the issues. But this particular one of ASU wanting to get paid for the 6 months, personally, I will not even support it. If I decide to go on strike, I will expect that period that I'll be on strike, I'm not going to get paid.
They have come out to say no pay, no resumption.
Which I think they will lose the sympathy that Nigerians perhaps have for them. Because even you as an individual, you will not want to, if you have an employee and the person decides for whatever reason, the person says, okay, you need to increase my salary. Okay. And you are telling the person, no, I cannot increase your salary. Then the employee says, okay, because of that, I'm not going to return to work. Then maybe later, you now come to an agreement and you tell the person, maybe the person has been at home for like 2 months. You now say, okay, I'm going to increase your salary by 5%, and the person agrees. And the person now tells you, the 2 months I did not work, you must pay me. You would definitely not want to do that. But for the sake of our kids that are in school, that are out of school, for the sake of the long-suffering Nigerian parents, I hope that if paying ASU, the backlog, if that, let them come to a compromise. Maybe to say, okay, we cannot pay you the 6 months, but we can give you 2 months or 3 months.
Thank you so much for that. Wonderful. And that is, time is now our friend on the program. I would have loved for you to talk about Wike and the Rivers saga, the PDP crisis. So just quickly run maybe 1 or 2 chip in.
Well, the PDP, I think they need Wike, perhaps more than Wike needs the PDP.
Okay.
The biggest tragedy for the PDP would be if Wike decomes. He has said he's not going to decamp, so I hope he stays. Because when you check previous elections, the votes from Rivers State, and Rivers State have been loyal to the PDP from 1999. And Wike has been in the PDP for such a long time. So whatever issues they have, for them to stand any realistic chance of winning the election, they have got to try and resolve these issues with Wike, honestly. Because this is one man that has been resolute. Even their presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, left the PDP, came back, left again, now he's back there. But Wike has been there from the very beginning. I'm not saying Wike himself is a saint or whatever, but whatever it is, I think they should try and resolve it. Because if they lose Rivers State, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to win the election. Because I don't see how they will win in the southwest, for instance. So, and if they lose Rivers, which is in the south, and Wike is very influential in the south, so if he's going against the PDP, he could influence 1 or 2 other states to do the same thing. So it might be a very big problem for the PDP.
Okay. Thank you so much for that opinion. Now we have come to the end of the program. This is what we'll be calling it a wrap. But before we go, as our tradition is on the show, Mr. Salihu Ibrahim. Okay, there's a tradition here on Maker News where, as citizens, we always say the change begins with you and I. So we just like you to make a commitment towards the betterment of Nigeria. Whereas this is a map of Nigeria that says it's like you're making an oath, a commitment towards the betterment of the country. So you could just maybe with your right hand and just make a pledge to your country.
My name is Salihu Ibrahim. Everybody knows me as the guy who bleeds green. I carry Nigeria in my heart. I love this country passionately. So I make a commitment to the betterment of Nigeria. I will do everything within my power to ensure that Nigeria becomes a better country for everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, you can go ahead and sign. You can sit and sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where, on the white or the
Just
green?
anywhere. And your name. Thank you so much for that commitment. And viewers at home, this is where we call it a wrap on today's program. Thank you for joining us on the program. To join us same time next week. My name is Melanie Jewel, and enjoy your weekend.